We've got an update on Jasmy Coin, and I'm setting myself in for some hate because the last time that I'd done a Jasmy Coin video, which was only a couple of days ago, guys, all I've got in the comments was negativity, negativity, negativity. Why? Because the Jasmy Coin price come down. Now, anybody that actually watched the video understood one thing. What did I say? We were overbought on the stochastic. What did I say? We were at a resistance barrier. What did we need to do? We needed to pull back. What happened if we pulled back? You can capitalize on cheaper prices. Go back and actually watch the video, guys. Yes, we've dropped the 200 moving average. However, we're still holding this support barrier. So what are the next levels for Jasmy? What needs to happen next? We're still putting in a higher low, guys. So if you go back and watch the last video, and anyone that bought the Jasmy coin at the top here, none of this is financial advice anyway, but anyone that bought Jasmy coin at this resistance barrier, if you actually watch the video, what did I say? Overbought. What did we need to happen? Through two things. We needed the stochastic to come back down into an oversold position. It's done that now, whilst maintaining a higher low structure, which it's doing, holding support. The next thing, RSI needed to hold above 50, which it's doing. So if you watch the last video, guys, and you put that hate in the comments, you're putting the hate in the comments because you're not understanding what I'm saying. These things need to happen first. And this is what happens when you FOMO into something at resistance. Why do I say wait for a break? Why do I say wait for a retest? Because it gives you a higher probability move at exactly the same area, guys. It's all about playing the game. And unfortunately, playing the game is waiting. So what am I expecting next for Jasmy Coin? Let's dive in. So, okay, first thing is first. I'm Keith. This is Crypto Bullseye. Welcome to the channel, guys. Help me get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, and you're helping me on the journey, guys, because it's going up quick, and that must mean that I'm doing something right. So, appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for the love. On the road to 10,000, guys. I'm going to be a happy man when I get there. Right, okay, so Jasmy Coin, 0.01717. Now, we need to understand, we need to sit back, we need to appreciate that we are at a resistance barrier. We pulled back and now we're at a support barrier. We've maintained a higher low, guys. So this is still a bullish structure, but we do have these resistance barriers to overcome. And I'm going to show you one key resistance that we really need to pass through and why this is so important, because it's all about the biggest area of traded volume, which gives you the biggest sticking point within a range. So we'll go over that very shortly. But firstly, what is the area we need to overcome in the short term? It was 2 cents, guys, 0.02 cents. Now we need to take back what we've dropped, which is the 200, 0.01754. Do I think that's going to happen? I do think that's going to happen. These stochastics, they can hover for a little while, but what we're waiting for, guys, is we're waiting for this to actually cross. See where this crossed here and where this crossed here? Here and here. We're waiting for this to come down and cross up, and that's going to give us a signal that the momentum's starting to shift and then it's ready for its next swing. So that's nearly ready now, guys. We've come all the way from here since the last video, and that was only 2 or 3 days ago. So we're pulling back, we're pulling back, we're pulling back, we're maintaining the higher low, and what we can do is we can add a trend line in there. I'm going to add the volume on very shortly. I just want to show you this. So this is the area that you've got to fall back on. And what we're looking for is areas of confluence. So you need to understand what happens if you're right and what happens if you're wrong, because it is a probabilities game and you've got to give yourself the highest probability possible. However, it doesn't always go your way. If it doesn't go your way, what do you need to do? You need to protect yourself, guys. That's what trading's about. That's what investing's about. So it's good that we're holding support. It's bad that we're under the 200. We are coiled between the 3 moving averages. You've got your 50, you've got your 20, you've got your 200. So this is going to act as strong support, and this is the area that we need to hold. And it is strong that the RSI is maintaining 50 level. So this is the 50 level. When you're above 50, you're bullish. When you're below 50, you're bearish. If you just look at how price action reacts, when you're below 50, down here, when you're above 50, up here. So we are bullish. We're maintaining the bullish structure. And we know that the next resistance point, once we break through 2 cents, is all the way up here, nearly 3 cents, 0.02748. Now, this is where things get interesting on Jasmy Coin, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a fixed range volume profile, and this is going to give us the biggest sticking point from this big range here all the way up to where price action is now, including the high. This is going to give us the biggest sticking point. And can you see how this coincides with this resistance barrier that we currently rejected from? So it goes all the way back here, guys. This is the biggest area of traded volume that we need to overcome. So the exact price is 0.02041. But why I get excited about this is because as we start breaking through these resistance barriers, the volume gets less and the volume gets less. And when the volume gets less, that means the resistance gets less. And when the resistance gets less, it's easier to break through the ceilings and it's easier to hold the floors of support. So you can see we've got one barrier here, this barrier that we need to overcome, and then it gets smaller here. This barrier here, if you actually look at price action, how price action reacts, support, resistance, 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 that's going to be another barrier. And the top of that is 0.02348. And then things start getting exciting. Why? Because look at the trade and volume here. Look at all this trade and volume that happens here. This is the area. This is the biggest area of trade and volume. Once we break through this, volume gets less, and swings get harder. Why does that happen? So you can see here the decline in volume, the decline in volume, the decline in volume. So you look at that and then you look at the price action. How long does this price stay here? You've got a big swing to the upside, big swing to the downside, and then a rejection back into the biggest area of traded volume. What happens here? You've got a big swing to the upside, big swing to the downside, and then back into the area of the most traded volume. So this is the sticking point. And once we get past here, volume gets less, the volume gets less, and then you start making the big swings, and then you can start looking at the projections, the 1272, 0.07312, the 1618, 0.009. Guys, until you get there, you haven't got there. So you need to plan for these things. And once we break out of the biggest area of traded volume, then expect those volatile swings. So you know me, guys. I'm all about risk management. I'm all about portfolio diversification. When you look at Jasmy Coin, and I love Jasmy Coin, how much of that would I put in my portfolio, guys? Probably 2%, 3%, 4%, maybe at a push. It is something that I like, guys, but I have got a range of cryptocurrencies. And unfortunately, this goes high in the risk curve. And a lot of you guys that were putting hate in the comments probably going to hate me on that as well, because the Jasmy lovers think that this thing's going to the moon. This thing's going to $1, $2. Guys, play it as it is. How much time have we got in the market? How fast does it need to run? What will the market cap look like if Jasmy Coin was $2? None of this is financial advice, guys, but it is all about risk management. And if you can understand how to manage your risk, it's going to give you a greater edge. Right, okay, so let's look for projections. If this swings in, if this swing's finalized, let's do some Fibonacci numbers. You've got a swing here, swing 1, swing 3 is bigger. There's the pullback swing 2. And we're waiting for swing 4 and then a pullback for swing 5. So we're going to use our fib tool from this previous swing. And we're going to look for a retracement. How far can this thing actually pull back? So we've dropped the 382. I'm going to stick the 0.5 on there, see if it's reacted to the 0.5. Stick that on there. And we've had a reaction at the 0.5. Let me just zoom in so you can see this a bit better. Okay, so you can see we've had a reaction at the 0.5. So we've dropped the 382. We're trading between the 0.5 and the 382. The 382 has also got the 200 daily moving average. So once we break through that, that's going to show momentum that we're going to push all the way to $2. There's a high probability there's little resistance getting us all the way to that $2 mark. And that's building us closer and closer out of the biggest area of traded volume before you get the big volatile spikes. So when you do get the big volatile spikes with these high risk cryptos, one thing, guys, make sure that you're taking profits along the way. That's the main thing, because what goes up fast, like this, like we mentioned earlier, comes back down fast, comes back down fast. So you need to be taking profits on these big moves, and that's essential, guys. So we're going to stick a fib on. We've stuck the fib on the 618. So the 618 is actually 0.015. That's quite a psychological number, and that's a big area of support now that was previous resistance. And you can see it acted as support here, then we fell through resistance. So we expect that to act as support. So coming back to the 618, that's a possibility, guys. Don't hate me if it comes back to the 618, but that is, like I say, 0.015. But we need to get out of this area, and we need to get out of this area quick. And I'm going to be with you all the way, guys. And I'm going to be following Jasmycoin because I know there's a big Jasmy army out here. So make sure you let me know in the comments whether it's good, whether it's bad, what you think about Jasmycoin, what's your projections for the bull market, and get yourself in the Discord group, guys, because that's where we can talk about Jasmycoin. That's where we can talk about all of your different cryptos. And then we can collectively paint a bigger picture of what's happening in the market. So guys, come and learn something new. Get yourself in the Discord group. Educate yourself for half an hour every single day. I promise you, in a year's time, you're going to look back and you're going to think that that is the best thing that you've ever done in your life, guys. People don't educate themselves outside of their 9 to 5. People come home and they're knackered. What do? They go on the phone, go watch TV. What is it that you can do, guys? All of that time that you're spending scrolling through your phone, you could spend that time actually developing yourself, understanding price charts, understanding whatever it is that you're interested in that gives you an opportunity to create any kind of passive income outside of your 9 to 5. Guys, do it. I promise you, I urge you, it's the best thing that I've ever done. So on that note, take care and I'll see you in the next one.